Pulse, how do you define a healthy relationship? I guess that everyone has their own standard, right? But for me, the most important thing in a relationship is that both parties need to understand each other. But more than that, your partner also needs to put up the same amount of effort into the relationship, just like you do. Now imagine you're in a relationship with someone. You spend a lot of time to make sure that that person is feeling well. You spare your time to answer their call and help them in times of need. You try to be there even in the darkest of time. But what do you receive in return? Your partner doesn't even bother to call you back. They forget your very own existence when they see something interesting, perhaps game, or maybe another person. Being in that position must be really difficult and painful, right? But that is exactly the kind of relationship that we have with planet Earth. Lately, we've been experiencing unpredictable weather conditions. In April, when it's supposed to be hot, we get rain every day. And in September, when it's supposed to be rainy, we get hot weather instead. This pattern seems to be mixed up, so the old weather table that exists in almost every school book for children is no longer relevant. As a response to this change, we very often complain to nature. When the temperature is so cold and the water is freezing, we wish it would have been warmer. And when the temperature is beyond warm, we wish it would have been colder. So it's like, whatever the condition is, nothing is suitable for us. We keep demanding this condition to be back to normal, but the only thing that we keep doing is destroying the earth and making the condition worse day by day. And the thing is, we've actually realized and experienced the effects of climate change. But as people who live in a third world country, we're so selfish that we cannot change the way we live because we're so conservative. Now, pals, did you really look forward to your 17th birthday? Because I did. At least most teenagers in this country do. On their 17th birthday, they will have big celebrations. They will invite many people and receive a lot of gifts in return. But do you know the other reason why people are really looking forward to being 17? Yes, it's because at that age, we're finally able to have our own driver's license. So we do not have to be afraid to be caught by the police anymore, because we've come to the legal age of driving a vehicle. Now, what most parents would do when their children turn 17 is giving them their own motorcycle or even a car. They believe that their children need to have their own independence, so giving them a vehicle will definitely ease their access of going anywhere. There is also some kind of standard that teenagers need to fulfill these days. For example, the person who has the latest motorcycle will be labeled as the coolest person in school. Meanwhile, the person who has no vehicle at all will be labeled as the ugliest person in school. So it's like humans only think about their own happiness without realizing that the more vehicles they own, the more that they're destroying the earth. Now, we see that in every household, there's gonna be at least more than one motorcycle for each member of the family. It means just for a day ride, they spend a lot of fossil fuels. Now, what if every person in this country does this on a daily basis? Can you imagine the amount of pollution that we contribute to global warming every single day? But not only that, these days there is a trend of building eco-friendly schools. People say building that kind of schools will help the development of a more eco-friendly method of learning. They say that it will help the environment because we plant more trees and flowers in school, we stop using air conditioner, and we even stop the usage of plastics in school. However, although this kind of rules exist in the majority of schools, teachers or even students are still coming to school using their own motorcycles. They do not even bother to use bikes on certain days. And do you know what the worst thing is? Is that although school doesn't sell any plastic products, People are still, buying food using online delivery systems. So although there is a policy that forbids you to sell any plastics at school, people are still bringing plastics into school. For example, from the packaging of those foods or from the plastic bag that they use to carry it. This shows the hypocrisy of it all. Because it's like building green schools or whatsoever is only meant for gaining popularity. Because the truth is, schools still fail to teach their students to love the environment. Because schools still fail to make people aware that this earth is dying. No, I'm not saying that green school is a bad idea or something. It's just that all of those strict regulations, they only exist as a service thing. Once those regulations are gone, people go back to the old lifestyle that is so harmful for the environment. Well, I'm sure that we all understand there is a good thing and also a bad thing of living in a developing country like Indonesia. The good thing is that I think everything is still pretty cheap, right? So we don't have to spend too much money just to buy something. But obviously, there are a lot of bad things of living here. For example, the difference between the government objectives between Indonesia and developed countries, such as European countries. In Indonesia, we're still struggling with the economic. So we're still trying to eradicate poverty and trying to lift the standard of living for some people. Meanwhile, European countries, they already focus on preventing and trying to cope with climate change. They have Greta Thunberg and all of those people who try so hard to spread awareness about climate change. And what about our own people? Well, as you can see, our people, they're still focusing on religious conflicts. They're still believing in myths, and some of them even refuse to believe in science. The contrast is so huge, right? So what does this mean? This means the government will not prioritize the environment when making a policy. So as long as it benefits the economic sector, as long as many people like it, the policy will continue. It also means that if no one takes an initiative to help the environment, our country will drown in the near future. Now, I'm sure that you now understand why I said that we have a toxic relationship with Earth. Because it's like humans are so selfish and evil. They only think about their own happiness without thinking of how to give back to nature. They're not grateful with what the earth has given to them. For example, the oxygen, the food, the water, and even the places to live. We just keep taking and taking and taking until there's nothing left, until all those fish are gone from the sea, and until all of the trees are gone from the forest. We're so evil. So, from now on, we do not have any rights to complain when nature starts to show its anger to us. Because I'm sure that you'll also be angry when your boyfriend is being toxic to you, right? You'll even break him up. So it also happens to nature. They will be angry to us if we shows no care to them. And from now on, if you encounter a bad weather, stop asking, why is this happening? Instead, start asking yourself, what can I do to make a contribution to make this situation better? Thank you.